Hi, my name is Emma Smith, and I never expected to die at 26. To be honest, I never gave much thought to death at all. Life felt like a never-ending stream of days: work, family, friends, and the occasional prayer when I needed something. I believed in God, or at least I thought I did. But my faith was passive, more of a vague acknowledgement than an active relationship. I'd show up to church on holidays, recite the familiar prayers, and move on with my life. I thought that was enough. Looking back now, I realize how shallow my faith really was. How little I understood about prayer, purpose, or the spiritual forces shaping our lives. My life was simple. I worked as a school teacher, a job I loved because of the kids. They brought so much joy and curiosity into my life, even when the days were long and exhausting. I had dreams, of course, traveling, starting a family someday, but like most people, I assumed I had plenty of time for all of that. Time to figure out who I was, what I believed, and what kind of life I wanted to live. But time has a way of surprising you, of pulling the rug out from under you when you least expect it. It was a warm summer evening in early July, and I decided to go for a jog at my favorite park. It was something I did often to clear my head after a long day. The park was beautiful, with winding trails shaded by tall trees and a small lake in the center where ducks and geese gathered. I remember the sun was just beginning to set, casting golden light through the leaves and painting the sky with streaks of pink and orange. It was the kind of evening that makes you feel alive, connected to the world around you. I had my headphones in, listening to music, and was completely lost in thought. The trails were mostly empty, and I remember feeling grateful for the quiet. I didn't notice the clouds rolling in until the first distant rumble of thunder. I stopped for a moment, pulling out one earbud, and looked up at the sky. The colors had shifted, deep purples and grays blending with the fading sunlight. A storm was coming. At first, I thought I could outrun it, finish my loop, and get back to my car before the rain started. But the storm moved faster than I anticipated. The air grew heavy. The wind picked up, and before I knew it, the sky opened up. Fat raindrops began to fall, soaking me within minutes. I considered ducking under a tree for shelter, but something told me to keep moving, to get back to the parking lot as quickly as I could. That's when it happened. I was running along the edge of the lake, the path slick with rain, when a blinding flash of light illuminated everything around me. It wasn't just the trees or the water. It was as if the entire world had been swallowed by light. The deafening crack of thunder followed immediately, so loud it felt like the earth itself had split open. I didn't even have time to react. A massive tree just a few feet away from me exploded as the lightning struck it, sending shards of wood and energy in every direction. The force of the strike knocked me off my feet, and everything went black. For a moment, there was nothing. No pain, no awareness, just darkness. Then, slowly, I became aware of a strange sensation, as if I were floating. I could see my body lying crumpled on the path, rain pooling around me, and a small group of people running toward me. They were shouting, frantic, but their voices sounded distant, like I was hearing them through water. I didn't feel any connection to the body on the ground. It was like looking at a stranger. Instead, I felt a strange pull, a gentle tug upward, drawing me away from the scene below. At first, I resisted, trying to stay grounded, but the pull was insistent, almost magnetic. I surrendered to it, and as I did, a profound sense of peace washed over me. All the worries and fears that had weighed on me, my job, my relationships, my doubts, simply dissolved. I felt lighter than I ever had before, as though I were shedding not just my body, but all the burdens I had carried through life. Then came the light. It wasn't like the blinding flash of lightning that had struck the tree. This light was warm, soft, and inviting. It surrounded me, embraced me, and I felt myself moving into it. I didn't walk or float. It was more like I became part of the light, merging with it as it pulled me deeper into its brilliance. When I opened my eyes, or whatever it was I was using to perceive things now, I found myself in a space that defied description. It wasn't a room or a landscape, but it wasn't empty either. It was alive, shimmering with energy and color. Threads of light stretched in every direction, weaving intricate patterns that seemed to pulse with life. Each thread was unique, radiating its own combination of colors and vibrations. Some were vibrant and focused, cutting through the space like beams of light. Others were softer, more diffuse, like gentle ripples in water. It took me a moment to realize what I was looking at, but when I did, it took my breath away. They were prayers. I could feel it as much as I could see it. These threads of light were the prayers of people in the world below, rising up and weaving together into this vast tapestry of energy. They weren't just words or thoughts. They were alive, tangible forces, each one carrying its own intent, its own unique power. Some prayers were strong and unwavering, their light shining brightly and steadily. Others were faint and flickering, as if they were struggling to stay connected. I could feel the emotions behind them: hope, desperation, gratitude, fear. Each thread was a story, a moment of someone reaching out beyond themselves, searching for something greater. I was so mesmerized by the tapestry that I didn't notice the presence beside me at first. It wasn't until I felt a wave of warmth and peace wash over me that I turned and saw him. He wasn't like any angel I'd ever imagined. No wings, no halo. But I knew instantly who he was. He was made of light, radiating a love so pure it brought tears to my eyes. Without speaking, I knew his name: Gabriel. "You've been chosen to see this," he said, his voice resonating within me rather than through sound. "Because your understanding must grow, and through you, others will learn." As he spoke, the tapestry seemed to come alive, the threads shifting and flowing in ways I couldn't quite comprehend. "This is the power of prayer," Gabriel continued. "Not just words, but a force that shapes reality itself." I stood there, speechless, as he gestured toward the tapestry. I knew in that moment that my life would never be the same. I was mesmerized by the tapestry of light around me, each thread of energy more intricate and alive than anything I could have imagined. Gabriel's presence was steady and calm, radiating a love and peace that anchored me even in this awe-inspiring place. He stood, or more accurately, existed, beside me, his light interwoven with the glowing streams around us. It was as though he wasn't separate from this realm, but a part of its very fabric. I wanted to ask so many questions, but words felt unnecessary. Gabriel seemed to sense my thoughts before I even fully formed them. "You are here to learn," he said, his voice resonating not in my ears, but deep within my consciousness. "Your understanding of prayer, faith, and the divine connection must deepen, not just for your sake, but for the sake of those you will touch when you return." As he spoke, the tapestry shifted, zooming in on a specific section. I was drawn to it, watching as a stream of light began to glow brighter, pulsing with color and rhythm. Gabriel guided me closer, and I instinctively understood that this thread represented a prayer being offered in the physical world at that very moment. The energy was vibrant, a brilliant gold intertwined with hues of emerald green. "This is the prayer of a father," Gabriel explained. "He is praying for his struggling family, asking for guidance and strength to provide for them." As I focused on the thread, it was as though I could see the ripples of the prayer moving outward, affecting the world in ways I had never imagined. The prayer reached into the heart of a stranger who decided, on a whim, to offer the man a job, one that would change his family's circumstances. It inspired a friend to drop off groceries at their doorstep without knowing the full extent of their need. I even saw how the prayer created a sense of peace and clarity in the father himself, giving him the strength to keep moving forward despite his struggles. "Prayer is not merely a request," Gabriel said, "but an act of creation. It aligns the soul with the divine and sets forces in motion that extend far beyond what the human mind can comprehend." I watched in awe as the thread continued to ripple outward, touching lives and circumstances far removed from the father's immediate situation. It was like watching a symphony being composed in real time, each note perfectly timed and placed. And yet, Gabriel reminded me, the power of the prayer wasn't in its eloquence or complexity. It was in its sincerity, its faith. We moved through the tapestry, observing different types of prayers. Gabriel showed me a thread of shimmering blue and green light, representing a prayer for healing. This one came from a mother praying over her sick child. As the prayer traveled, I saw it influence the hands of a doctor who suddenly remembered a treatment he hadn't considered before. It strengthened the immune system of the child, almost as though the prayer itself carried a physical healing energy. The ripples reached beyond the immediate situation, inspiring others to rally around the family, offering support and care. Then Gabriel directed my attention to a golden thread radiating warmth and light. "This is a prayer of gratitude," he said. I watched as the energy flowed outward, enhancing the positive aspects of everything it touched. It was like watching a sunrise spreading across the land, filling every corner with light. Gratitude, Gabriel explained, has a unique power to amplify blessings, creating a resonance that draws even more light into the world. But the most remarkable part came when Gabriel showed me the power of collective prayer. We approached a section of the tapestry where multiple threads were weaving together, creating a network of light so vibrant it seemed to hum with energy. These were the prayers of a community coming together for a single purpose: to pray for a woman battling a life-threatening illness. As their prayers intertwined, the light grew stronger, brighter, until it became a massive wave of energy. I saw how the collective force of their prayers not only supported the woman's healing, but also affected the people around her. Family members found renewed hope, doctors experienced sudden insights, and even those who prayed experienced a profound sense of connection and peace. Collective prayer creates resonance, Gabriel said. When people unite in faith and intention, their prayers amplify one another, opening channels for divine intervention that might otherwise remain dormant. This is why Jesus said, "Where 2 or 3 gather in my name, there am I with them." I marveled at the beauty of it, the sheer power of unity and love. But then, as if sensing my wonder, Gabriel's tone shifted. The light around us dimmed slightly, and he gestured toward a section of the tapestry that seemed darker, more chaotic. Threads of shadow wove through the light, disrupting its harmony. "Not all prayers are rooted in love and faith," Gabriel said. "Some are tangled with doubt, selfishness, or fear, weakening their power. And there are forces in the world, forces of darkness, that seek to distort the divine fabric, pulling humanity away from its connection to the light." I felt a chill as I looked closer at the dark threads. They were tangled, erratic, and seemed to consume the light around them. Gabriel explained that these threads represented not prayers, but spiritual distortions. Energies rooted in fear, greed, and division. They were the result of choices humanity makes when it turns away from love and unity. "This," Gabriel said, "is the truth of the mark of the beast. It is not merely a physical symbol, as many believe, but a spiritual alignment. To take the mark is to align oneself with fear, greed, and separation. It is a choice made in the heart that shapes the soul's trajectory." I was stunned. I had always thought of the mark of the beast as something external, something imposed on people against their will. But Gabriel revealed that it was far more insidious. It was a matter of free will, of daily choices that either align us with the light or with the forces of darkness. "Every choice matters," Gabriel said. "Every thought, every action, every word. Humanity is constantly weaving its own destiny, thread by thread. The question is, will you weave a tapestry of light or one of shadow?" As I absorbed his words, the tapestry shifted again, showing me a vision of the world. I saw 2 paths unfolding, one where humanity embraced love, compassion, and unity, creating a radiant tapestry that illuminated the universe, and another where fear and division tore the fabric apart, plunging the world into darkness. Gabriel turned to me, his light shining brighter. "This is why you were brought here," he said. "To see, to understand, and to share. Humanity must awaken to the power it holds, the power to choose, to pray, to align with the divine. Only then can the forces of light prevail." And with that, the light around us began to shift, pulling me toward a new understanding. The tapestry of light and shadow seemed to expand endlessly before me, its threads constantly shifting and intertwining. Gabriel turned to me, his radiant presence steady and resolute. He gestured toward a particular section of the tapestry where the threads of darkness seemed to grow thicker, tangling with the light. My heart ached as I watched the struggle unfold. "This is the deeper truth of the mark of the beast," Gabriel said, his voice resonating through my very being. "It is not a physical mark, nor is it something imposed from the outside. It is a spiritual alignment, a choice made in the heart, whether consciously or unconsciously. It is the decision to embrace fear, greed, and separation, to turn away from the light and toward the darkness." I stared at the threads, watching as they pulled at the surrounding light, distorting the tapestry. Gabriel continued, his tone grave. "Many do not realize the significance of their daily choices. Every thought, every action, every intention, These are the threads that weave a person's spiritual alignment. To choose love, compassion, and unity is to align with the divine. To choose fear, selfishness, and division is to align with the forces of darkness. I wanted to look away, but Gabriel urged me to focus. He showed me how the dark threads didn't just affect the individual who created them. They spread outward, entangling others and disrupting the harmony of the tapestry. It was like watching a disease spreading through a body, infecting everything it touched. But it's not irreversible, Gabriel said, his light softening. Every moment is an opportunity to choose differently, to turn away from the darkness and return to the light. This is the power of free will, the gift humanity has been given. The mark of the beast is not forced upon anyone. It is accepted, one choice at a time. The weight of his words settled over me. I began to see how the choices I had made in my own life, choices born out of fear, anger, or selfishness, had contributed to the shadows. It was a sobering realization, but it was also empowering. If I could choose differently, if I could align myself with the light, then so could others. As I reflected on this, the tapestry shifted again, and Gabriel directed my attention to another section. This time I saw threads of light pushing back against the darkness, reclaiming what had been distorted. These threads represented people who had chosen to forgive, to love, to stand together in faith. The transformation was breathtaking. The light grew stronger, brighter, weaving a new pattern that radiated hope and harmony. This, Gabriel said, is the spiritual battle humanity is engaged in every day. It is not a battle fought with weapons or armies, but with choices, intentions, and prayers. The forces of light and darkness are constantly at work, but the outcome is not predetermined. Humanity holds the power to shape its destiny. The vision shifted again, and I saw the world below as if through a veil. People were walking through their daily lives, unaware of the threads they were weaving with their actions and thoughts. Some were surrounded by light, their prayers and intentions strengthening the tapestry. Others were entangled in shadows, their choices pulling them further from the divine. Gabriel's voice grew firmer. This is why you must return. Humanity needs to understand the power it holds, the significance of every moment. The choices people make are not trivial. They are the threads of creation itself. The scene faded, and I felt myself being pulled back. My body came into focus, lying still and lifeless on the ground. I could hear distant voices, paramedics shouting, a defibrillator charging. Then, with a sudden jolt, I was back. My chest heaved as I gasped for air, pain flooding every inch of my body. I blinked against the harsh light of the ambulance, disoriented and overwhelmed. But even through the confusion, I felt an undeniable sense of purpose. I had been sent back for a reason, and I couldn't ignore it. The days that followed were a blur of recovery and reflection. My body was weak, but my spirit burned with a new determination. I knew I couldn't keep this experience to myself. Gabriel's message was too important, too urgent. I began sharing my story with anyone who would listen. Family, friends, even strangers. At first, I worried people would think I was crazy, but the response was overwhelming. People were hungry for hope, for truth, for a deeper understanding of the spiritual forces at work in their lives. As I spoke, I could see the light awakening in their eyes, the realization that their choices mattered, that they were part of something far greater than themselves. I didn't have all the answers, but I knew one thing for certain. Prayer was the key. Gabriel had shown me the power of prayer, not just as a request, but as a way of actively participating in the divine fabric of creation. I encouraged others to pray with intention, to align their hearts with love and compassion. And it wasn't just about prayer. It was about living a life that reflected the light, choosing kindness over anger, generosity over greed, unity over division. I spoke about the power of collective action, how even small choices could ripple outward and create profound change. As I shared these truths, something incredible began to happen. People started coming together, praying not just for themselves, but for their communities, for the world. I could feel the resonance of their prayers, the way they strengthened the tapestry of light. It gave me hope that humanity could rise above the darkness and create a new pattern, one woven with love and faith. To those of you hearing this now, I want to say, the power is in your hands. Every moment, every choice, every prayer matters. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be willing to align yourself with the light, Reject fear, greed, and division. Choose love, compassion, and unity. The spiritual battle is real, but the light is always stronger than the darkness. Together, we can create a world that reflects the divine beauty Gabriel showed me. A world where every thread of the tapestry shines with hope and harmony. Thank you for listening to my story. If it touched you, if it inspired you, share it with others. Let's spread the light and awaken the world to its true power. Every prayer, every action, every moment counts. Let's make them count for the light.